The Batman is finally out. It is out this Friday, March 4th. A lot of people have seen it early. A lot of people are saying that it is the best Batman movie ever made. I don't know if I can make that distinction yet. I'm probably going to have to rewatch, The Dark Knight, the original Batman, a lot of them to go through. What I can tell you is that it is a fantastic Batman story. If you love Batman Year One, you're going to love Matt Reeves' The Batman. So let's dive straight into the review of The Batman. This is a spoiler-free review for all the people out there. There will be no spoilers. Before you see the movie, make sure you go and mute everything on Twitter because there's not a lot to spoil from the movie. There are some bigger reveals near the end of it, but make sure you go and see it before you look at anything on Twitter. And enjoy the show. Starting off with the cast and everybody, it is directed by Matt Reeves. It is also written by Matt Reeves and Peter Craig in a wonderful, wonderful screenplay. The movie itself is 3 hours long, so make sure you go to the bathroom and get your popcorn and your drink. Get the extra large for this one because it's a lengthy movie. It doesn't feel like it's 3 hours though, which is pretty nice for the pacing of the film. It stars Robert Pattinson as Batman, Bruce Wayne. It stars Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman, Selina Kyle. It stars Jeffrey Wright as Lieutenant Gordon. It stars Colin Farrell as Oswald the Penguin. It stars Paul Dano as the Riddler. It stars John Turturro as Carmine Falcone. And of course, Andy Serkis plays Alfred. The music and the score is by Michael Giacchino. We'll start off right with the score here. For the people out there that are saying that this is among the best Batman movies, that remains to be seen. But the score for the film, Batman throughout his history as a character has been blessed with fantastic scores, whether it's from Hans Zimmer or Danny Elfman or Michael Giacchino in this case. It is an exceptional score to the movie. It adds so much to the ambiance, to the feel, to the tone of the film. And tonally, the film is similar to the Nolan films in the realism and how it's grounded in reality, but it takes the foundation laid down by those films and makes it grittier. It makes it more realistic, and everything about the film feels real and just like you're there, like this could be happening anywhere in the world. It makes Gotham City into its own character, basically, here with the rain that falls and the shots of the city, and all of the filmmaking techniques here are top-notch. The cinematography just adds so much to it. Like I was saying about the script, this is an homage. This is Batman Year One. It's Batman Year Two, basically, here, but in the story. But it feels a lot like that Frank Miller graphic novel where you have a younger Batman earlier in his career here, just sort of finding his footing, finding out what he can and can't do, what his limitations are as a person and mentally and everything in fighting crime. Robert Pattinson just goes full bore into it here. If your favorite Batman is Christian Bale or Michael Keaton or Kevin Conroy or whoever, Robert Pattinson might change your mind with this. It depends on what you're looking for here, but this younger, grittier, sort of thinner version of Batman, he's not to say he's a twig, but he is definitely not muscle-bound and gigantic like the Ben Affleck version that sort of feels like the Dark Knight Returns version of the Batman here. It is a different version of the Batman. It is a more grounded in reality version of Batman. The rest of the cast here, Zoe Kravitz is also fantastic as Selina Kyle / Catwoman. Her performance aids Pattinson's in the fact that we haven't really had a Catwoman before that is, she's incredibly sexy and incredibly, seductive in the film, but she's not ogling or oodling after Batman here. She is her own person. Their relationship is friendly, but it's also less sort of overtly sexualized like the rest of the portrayals of Catwoman that we've had. Jeffrey Wright as Gordon is also exceptional. He provides the film with the human element of it because Bruce Wayne is very detached in this film. Batman is very detached. So you need someone that the audience can relate to, and Gordon really is that person. You don't get to see much of Gordon's, or really at all of Gordon's personal life here. You don't meet his wife or any of his kids or anything yet. But the character itself is so human and so logical and so grounded that you feel for him as an audience member. You want to root for Gordon here. On the opposite side of that, there's the Penguin and Carmine Falcone, who are the the kingpins or the mob bosses of Gotham City. John Turturro here is delightfully not evil, but there's something under the surface that he's hiding the entire movie that you get to find out at the end. Same thing with the Penguin. Colin Farrell is absolutely unrecognizable with all the facial stuff that they put on him, but his performance here is... I was watching it in the theater, and I was reminded of some of like Robert De Niro's performances. It's not saying that they're like those, but his mannerisms and everything, in the way that he portrays the character, it feels very De Niro-esque. He's the funniest part of the film. The film doesn't have very many laughs. Obviously, in the screening I was at yesterday, there were people laughing at things that weren't funny. But the Penguin is there for the lighter moments of the film, and the jokes that he has with Batman and Commissioner Gordon are enough to lighten the tone of the film a bit, because it is a very dark tone. It's very dense across, and so you need sort of those lighter moments. Some other lighter moments in the film they showed off in the Bat and the Cat trailer that you can see between Zoe Kravitz and Robert Pattinson. They sort of have a lighter relationship at points here, where with the talking about their cats and stuff like that. But the star of the show is Robert Pattinson. The villain of the show is Paul Dano as the Riddler. He is terrifying as the Riddler. It's a haunting performance. People were trying to connect it to Heath Ledger's performance as the Joker. It does not fit along with that performance at all. It is great. It is equally as great as that performance is, but it does not fit tonally anywhere at all in it. He is truly terrifying. He is among some of the scariest that you're going to get in a comic book movie like this, with Paul Dano as the Riddler. And then, of course, Andy Serkis as Alfred is sort of the moral compass of the Batman, especially in this film where, like I said, Bruce Wayne is very detached. He's very just sort of off. And Alfred sort of keeps him grounded into that more humanistic side of the character, and it's a fantastic performance from Andy Serkis. The story, it's 3 hours long. The movie goes through the underpinnings of Gotham City here, and it doesn't feel like a 3-hour movie. It's there's a certain point sort of midway through the second act of the film, sort of near the end of it, where you think, oh, this could be where it ends, and then there's a whole nother act that caps off the film, and it really takes the audience on a ride here with Gotham City, with the people of Gotham City, with the Gotham City Police Department, with the Batman, with Catwoman, with the Riddler, that sort of echoes some things that we're seeing in our own society today. There's echoes of racism, of class disparities, policing, corruption, all of that you get in this tightly woven package by Matt Reeves. And it does set up for a sequel. It doesn't overtly just go, okay, here's what the sequel is going to be about. But there's going to be a sequel, because this movie is going to make $1 bajillion at the box office. It's a fantastic neo-noir cop show, basically, of a movie, but you have it as the Batman instead of a police officer. You have some of that police stuff in there. You have some sort of Miami Vice cop show type dealings, but this is really about the Batman as a whole, and you get a lot of just fantastic noir here. The colors of the film, there's a lot, like the posters and everything, there's a lot of red and blacks and sort of those spectrums of the reds, so you have a lot of oranges. There's some fantastic shots. The action scenes here are brutal. Robert Pattinson is utterly brutal here with some of the people he beats the crap out of. There's some breathtaking scenes of action, especially some of the ones that they showed off in the trailers, but there are some that they didn't, that are just a treat to watch. So if you're looking for the best Batman movie ever made, I'm not sure it's that, because there have been some fantastic Batman movies made, but it does reach up to the par of The Dark Knight, the original Batman that you can get to, Batman Begins, those movies that people hold in high regard. The Batman should join them in that upper pantheon of Batman movies. It's a great superhero movie, it's a great comic book movie, it's a great cop movie. It's a great noir for this era where we don't really get that type of movie anymore. We don't get the sort of femme fatale noir movie that we in this cinematic climate that we're in. And this movie does that, and it adds superheroes to it. So if I'm going to give the Batman a score here, I think it's hard to give this movie a score because a lot of people have given it hundreds. A lot of people have given it, in that 90 range. I would probably drop it in between like a 95 to a 98. It's not perfect, but it's damn near close to that. You will not regret watching The Batman, and this is one that DC fans and comic book fans and movie fans will be talking about for a long time to come. That'll do it for The Batman. That'll do it for me to you for now. So thanks for watching, and make sure to go see The Batman. It's fantastic.